finally. All right. Sometimes you just got to restart the engines a little bit. Okay, back up and running. Here we go. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Thursday evening. Another edition of KFTV Live presented by SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com or use the SeatGeek app and use our code KFTV10 for 10% off your order. Yankees just scored again, man. 3-0 as we segue to baseball real quick. But on today's show, we are back to the season preview series, man. Took a little break, but we got to get back to it and finish before these guys get to the regular season. We're going to talk about the point guard rotation, plus another edition of Worst Take. CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaro's here, and special guest with us is our resident salary cap guru, man. Yossi Gozlan is in the building, man. We're going to touch on this Knicks salary cap outlook, man, after the blockbuster Karl-Anthony Towns trade. Going to tap in, check the temperature, and just see where things lie with the orange and blue. So lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get it going, man. Thursday night action, KFTV Live. Let's go. All right, man. Fellas, how we feeling, man?
Good. Yankees are up, man. How can we not feel good?
Giancarlo is delivering. Look at that. All right, so we'll see if they hold on. 3-0 in the top of the sixth there, Yankees in Kansas City, man. Yossi, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling all right. I don't follow baseball, but if you guys are feeling good.
I was going to say, in your neck of the woods, you got the Padres and the Dodgers, going at it, but no interest. You're not interested.
No interest.
All right. All right.
I'm aware.
Yeah. Fair enough, man. Well, I got to shout out our guy, Michael Parker, #1 fan of the show, man. $5 super chat. He set the tone tonight with his super chat. Said, salute Knicks Nation. Leon Rose is a lock for Executive of the Year, man. And the last time you were on this show, man, we were breaking down the Bridges trade and the salary cap outlook. But I did have a question for you that we did discuss after that in relation to the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. You said it was possible that night, and they made it happen. What was your reaction when you saw the terms of the deal?
My first reaction is, I remember when you brought it up to me, you were asking me, is this still possible? And the biggest thing, technically salaries wise, it was possible, but I didn't think the Knicks had enough. That's what I said. After everything they give out to get Bridges, I didn't think they had enough to get Towns. And I think that's mostly because we were both under the assumption that they would want to keep Dante DiVincenzo. And so with his inclusion, clearly they had enough. So that was the first thing. I did a whole video about it. We'll get into the salary cap stuff in a bit. As far as like what it means for the team, I'm sure if the Knicks could have worked everything the way they wanted, they probably would have kept Hardenstein and obviously DiVincenzo. Unfortunately they couldn't keep Hardenstein; it was out of their control. But because of the loss of Hardenstein, they kind of had to do a trade like this. Maybe not necessarily for Cat, but I think, given that he was available, you kind of had to make this swing at this point. And, relative to, I was saying, I thought they gave up a lot to get Mikal Bridges, but if you look at the price, like what they gave up to Towns, I think that's a pretty good price. So overall, I'm pretty excited for the Knicks. I still think they should have maybe not the #1 offense, but definitely top 3 to 5. And it should just be a lot of fun this season.
Where do things stand with them and the second apron right now? They are a second apron team. So what are they looking like in terms of, cap space? Where do things stand?
So the Knicks, they're at 12. They have 12 players right now. One of which will they got to get to 14 before the start of the season. So one of those spots will probably go to Landry Shamet, if not him, another guy who will make the same amount, $2 million. And then that last spot, and this is where the math really got interesting is they can't give it to a veteran. It's got to be one of their rookies. So they're probably going to convert one of their guys on the two-way. I'm guessing is going to be Ariel Hukparty.
Yeah.
They'll put him. So he would make just 1.15, and that all fits under the second apron. So they're able to go with a full roster. Then they'll have an extra two-way spot to fill. And they're going to basically be locked into this roster at least through December. Once recent free agents can start to become trade eligible. So because also they can't sign anybody. So unless they could do some type of trade where they save money, then they could have a little more flexibility if they need to do some in-season signings. But I think most likely they're going to be locked into this roster even past December, maybe into January, mid-January, when all the free agents become trade eligible. But also then they could also start signing guys to 10-day contracts, and they could easily add those players without making any trade at that point. So if I had to guess, I do think the Knicks will end up doing some type of move. They'll be busy mainly they got to still refine the bench a little bit, create a little more flexibility. But it's really impressive that they pulled all this off under the second apron. They not only that they managed to increase their payroll, which they weren't supposed to. The league's pretty upset about that, reportedly. But to fit all this right under the hard cap is really impressive and just really good planning.
Yeah, go into that a little bit because they did make headlines with the way that the Knicks were able to execute that Karl Anthony Towns trade under these new CBA restrictions. Talk a little bit about that, how they were able to increase their payroll despite being a second apron team.
So they did this with Mikal Bridges at first. They traded first the trade was it's just Bogdanovich for Bridges plus the picks. And when that was reported, if that's exactly how the trade was going to go down, the Knicks would have been hard capped to the first apron, which means they wouldn't have been able to do this cat trade later. And they ended up modifying the deal by including Mamadi Diakite, and then they also need a little more. They included Shake Milton, who they signed and traded him. So that's like an extra 2 point something million they just came out of thin air. So they did the same exact thing with the Towns trade. I think when I was speculating, early on when the rumor started happening, okay, maybe Cat to the Knicks might happen. The the framework I came up in my head didn't include like more free agents, more so Randall, Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, because that gets exactly to Cat's number. So that's something that they could have tried to do maybe in around the trade deadline if the trade didn't happen now. And instead, they got to keep that include Dante DiVincenzo, but they ended up keeping Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa. So they still have those salaries that they could trade later. And they did the same thing with Shake Milton. They signed and trade their last 3 free agents they had rights to, and now they can't sign and trade anybody else. And would just add it up exactly to get to Cat's number. And so they again increased their payroll. They didn't, while technically within the dynamics of the trade, they sent out more salaries than they were taking back in. They actually ended up increasing the payroll because the money they sent out was artificial. They just signed those guys. So maybe this could lead to some type of, it'll be a while to the next CBA negotiations, but I'm sure, the league might want to try to refine stuff to prevent these things, but there's always going to be something, no matter how much they try to make it tougher, there'll always be teams able to find out like another way to go around those rules.
So looking at for the next outlook, like what are their options to continue to round out this roster? There's a lot of discussion about, you just mentioned Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa as being guys that could be on the chopping block as to like upgrade in other areas on the Knicks roster. Like, could they still go out and get mid-level guys? Like, what are the other alternatives the Knicks have right now based on their salary cap where they could continue to add talent just to make sure that they're able to have depth going into the postseason?
So, like I said, I think they're going to probably stay with this roster at least through January. They are going to be about $335 million below the second apron once they get to 14 players. And they can't sign anybody to like a normal contract. They're just going to have to wait. So once you get to the trade deadline, then they're actually going to have to now they can't sign and trade anybody, even if they had some free agents. They still had rights to. You're not allowed to do that mid-season. So now when they actually make trades, they're going to have to actually decrease their payroll. There's not going to be any other kind of like loophole they can do to go around that. So the one type of deal that came to mind, assuming their top five guys are untouchable, is they can still combine players together. So at the highest end, they can try to do something like combine Mitchell Robinson, who makes 14 million, and Precious Achua, who makes 6 million, and try to bring back like an 18, $19 million player, someone who makes a little around 20 million or less. So that's something that they could potentially do. I would imagine that they probably want to try to get another wing to replace what DiVincenzo brought to them. They're not going to get a DiVincenzo type exactly, but just someone who can replace him in the role. And as far as ammunition, they still have about 10 second round picks available. They have one first round pick they could still trade, which is the Wizards first, but that one's really protected and will probably end up becoming 2 more seconds. So they have like 12 seconds to play with. So I think they'll be able to do something. I don't know what kind of player they could potentially go after. But one guy that came to mind, I don't know if it'll be enough, but maybe a guy like Bogdan Bogdanovic. That seems like one of the more higher end scenarios. He makes like 17 or 18 million. They can bring in a guy like him who could start or come off the bench. Just adds another, if you could turn both those big men into him, and maybe if then you have enough seconds to make it work, I think that's something that the Knicks should definitely try to go for. So just like the highest end scenarios I could think of as far as like what a really good rotational player they could bring. But either way, they have other options as well. But I think it's going to be mostly coming from a combination of Mitchell Robinson or Achua. Those are just the higher paid guys that you can actually do something with their salaries to make a trade.
Figured as much. Definitely figured as much. The Mikal Bridges extension. There were earlier reports earlier this offseason that he would take a little bit less that is due to him this year. He did at the October 1st deadline what many expected. He did not. He did not take the option there, right? Which would only have gotten him a little bit of a pay raise. So I guess it's expected that they will renegotiate in the summer. What do you think?
Yeah, I knew he had a brief. Yeah, he still could sign an extension right now up until the start of the season, but it would only add, I believe, 2 years or
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years because since he just got traded recently, that's all they could really give him. It's less money and less years. But once we get to July, he can do, I believe, a 4-year extension. He can do 4 years. It's basically the same exact extension Jalen Brunson just did, which we all know that's a huge bargain. That's great for the Knicks, and I think Mikal could probably even get more than that. So if he takes that, that's just another huge win for the Knicks cap sheet to help keep these guys together. Maybe beyond these next 2 to 3 years.
Okay. For I guess what is the next step then for the Knicks when it comes to negotiating that? Because you still have to add players through the draft. So how would that impact bringing on a first rounder or a second rounder if you're thinking about Bridges' contract in the future?
I don't think they need. I just think if they can get him on that extension, that's just really good value because players like him just rarely become available. And we just saw what OG Anunoby got with the Knicks. He's going to make about an average of $42 million a year. So this would be what, and Brunson's making what's the average of his contract? Around $40 million a year, a little less than that. So with inflation, the cap going up, whatever OG just got, Mikal could be worth more than that. So you're talking about locking in Mikal Bridges at even less, around or slightly less than what OG Anunoby's getting. I think you just gotta lock that in if he willing to accept it. So if he accepts it, then whatever other things the Knicks need to do to adjust for their cap sheet, you just worry about that stuff later. Because right now, for this season, they're right below the second apron. I think next season they're going to have a very similar payroll situation where they're just going to try to stay below the second apron as well. And then after that, like I can't really, it's hard to project beyond that. But I think the goal would be, yeah, they're going to, especially Bridges will be making more money then, so it could be a little trickier. But I think they might be able to figure out a way to, I think they're going to be willing to pay the tax. They're going to be a tax paying team. If the team I think is good enough to justify it. So just you just want to stay below the second apron just because that affects your draft pick 7 years out. You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
So I think they're in a pretty good spot to, I want to say at least the next 3 years, they should be able to keep this team together.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like a 3-year experiment. But let's say that they are in that second apron in terms of restrictions. Like, let's say they are in the second apron and they want to trade Mitch or they want to trade Precious. This has to be dollar for dollar moves, right? Like, they can't aggregate any salaries. Like, any chance of trading has to be dollar for dollar.
Yeah, they could still aggregate that only if you're above the second apron, you can't. So they're below it. So they could still combine those guys. Yeah, but you just got to do dollar for dollar or below. So that's why I bring up like an 18, $19 million player. There's still a move to be made as far as this season in that regard.
Would that even make sense to go trade for like one $18 million player? It just seems like you're just not adding depth at that point. Like they could, I mean, unless it's like that, like a highly impactful player. But to me, it just doesn't seem worth it because you're now talking about you'd probably have to exceed and go over the second apron then just to add any more talent, right?
Well, the thing is they can't. They're hard capped to the second apron this season. No matter what, they can't go above it. That's why I was saying even if they want, like they're only going to be 300,000 or so below it. Even if they wanted to sign a guy and go above it, they just can't. So then it would be just a matter of what do the Knicks want to do? Do they want to try to get another high-end rotation player that can be their sixth or seventh guy and hope that they have enough? Or maybe they want to try to distribute that money for like multiple guys. I think it just depends. They're going to see how they have to see how it goes. The one disadvantage that the Knicks have and could ultimately lead them to try to get more role players instead of another expensive player is the fact that because they're over the first apron, they can't participate in the buyout market. And they can still sign players that are bought out. They just can't sign guys that are making the mid-level or more, which is about 13 million. So, and I don't have any players off the top of my head that might apply to, but they would be out of the bidding for some of those guys. So I think it just, you're going to go like 40 games. We're going to see how the bench goes, see if they have enough. I think right now the consensus seems to be just doesn't seem like they have enough, especially after how insanely deep they were last year. They're probably not going to get close to that, but just depends to see if they have enough at center. If I'm pretty confident at least one of their guards that's like just McBride and then plus another guard should be able to be a mainstay. So maybe they do have enough guys and they can go get another expensive rotation guy. We'll see.
There you go, man. Well, Yossi, great work, man. What do you got on the pipeline as the season approaches?
Nothing really, but keep on the lookout for me. You guys can follow me on Twitter. It's my name, Yossi Gozlan. My YouTube page also the same name. If you haven't seen my video or you're not familiar with my work, I posted a whole video explaining the cap maneuvers of the cap trade because it's just super interesting. We just went over it basically just now. And yeah, just keep an eye out for my stuff. I'll probably be putting stuff whenever I see fit.
There we go, man. Well, Yossi, great work, man. We'll catch up during the season. And thanks again, man. Thanks again for tapping in with us, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our guy, Yossi Gozlan. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP and Alex on the ones and twos. We ain't done yet, man. We still got to get to rest through the rest of the show. We got the Yankees got out of the inning. They got into a little scrap. The guy in Kansas City, he was a little, I don't know if they insulted him a little bit or what. He got a little tight with Volpe. Him and Volpe almost had a little static. I like that, though. They need that,
You need a chip on your shoulder, man. And
Yeah,
look, if you're down 3-1, with on the brink of elimination, things start to get a little chippy. So
yeah.
the Royals are, they could be seeing the end of the road for themselves.
They're getting a little desperate right now. So let's see what happens there. We got John Carlos doing the damn thing. He is delivering, which you definitely like to see. So looking good so far, man. Looking good so far, Al. Let me get to my read, man. Let's pay some bills. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hey, salute to our sponsors, man, over at SeatGeek, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys are getting your Knicks tickets, and boy, are they expensive. Go to SeatGeek.com or use the SeatGeek app. Use our code KFTV10 for 10% off your tickets. Look for the green dot, ladies and gentlemen. The green dot means they're good deals. The red dot means they are bad deals. And when I say those tickets are expensive, man, according to what is this site name? Let me get the site. According to sportscasting.com, the Knicks have the NBA's highest get-in ticket price for their home opener. $275 is the cheapest, they say, which is $264 more expensive than a ticket to see the Jazz for their home opener. So there you go. Like I said, man, use our code KFTV10. Get a little savings, 10% off your tickets, up to $20 off at SeatGeek, man, the #1 rated ticketing app and the official ticketing app of KnicksFanTV.
Are you telling me no one's, busting the doors down to go watch Laurie Markkinen out in Utah?
Yeah, the marketing machine. $11, bro.
I guess no one's taking note out there, huh?
$12 to see the Hornets on their home opener.
$12?
$12, bro.
This reminds me of the doomsday times of watching Greg McElroy for the New York Jets, and it was only $14 to get to the bleachers.
Oh, man. They would have had to pay me to go see that.
It's really bad, CP. If you go back and watch the Dr. J documentary, right? When the Nets used to play at the Coliseum, because they couldn't fill the arena, they would give out free Wonder Bread.
There you go. There you go.
Come watch the New York Nets in the ABA. Get some free Wonder Bread. Not one, but 2 loaves.
Get some free Wonder Bread. All right, what's going on here? Who's that? Verdugo just got out. Okay. But top of the 7th, the Yankees up 3-1. All right, Al. Back to the season previews, man. Point guard rotation. Talked a lot about some of these guys last night. How you feeling overall? I mean, obviously, Captain Clutch is Captain Clutch, but how do you feel? 2 preseason games in. Payne has gotten the lion's share of the backup point guard. He has been the backup point guard. Deuce playing off of him, in that one game. Then you got Tyler, the creator, man. What do you think?
Is it funny to say that this used to be the weakest position on the New York Knicks, but somehow this is the strongest position on this team now?
Yeah.
Like, it is crazy how it's a complete 180 from what it was years ago. Yeah, I mean, you have Jalen Brunson. I don't even know what the next level is for him. I guess it could be like something like Steph Curry-esque, where he's just running off screens, looking for just open shots, and where he can just, split time being the creator and then being just a movement shooter, right? Just working off of screens that we saw yesterday. So I guess that, and if he can just keep up his efficiency, that's the next level for him, man. But I don't even know what the next level really looks like. I've always talked about it on other shows, even on here, is that it's like when you watch Steph, like you knew Steph was good right before they won the chip, right? But then after they won the chip that year, that 15-16 season, Curry was just a video game. Like, he was pulling up, like, from half court, drilling shots, making it look easy, right? Like, I cannot forget that game between the Warriors and OKC, and then he just knocks down that shot, just steps over half court, and then just ends the game right there. And that's where you get the Mike bang, the double bang, right? And so it's stuff like that I'm thinking that's the only way for Brunson to take another level. With regards to McBride, man, it's just working off what he did last season in the postseason. And we saw that against Charlotte. As long as he could continue to have a strong outing like that on a regular basis, I mean, if he could do what he did in the postseason last year and how he showed out in Charlotte, there's a good chance that he may put up numbers good enough for being 6th man of the year, because he's a two-way player. He can knock down 3. And we're seeing side steps of him knocking down shots. You know he's got a solid mid-range jumper. All I keep saying is that if he's able to get downhill and attract the defense, and then able to facilitate off of that, or just finish through contact and stuff in that nature in tight spaces, then he's really going to elevate his game and be a true commodity for the Knicks. And then for campaign, we know what his career is, man. Solid backup point guard to this point, whether it be on the Suns, what we saw out in Philly, and how he was just a pest against the Knicks too. You know, he's got a lot to offer on this team. But then Kolek, I mean, as a rookie, keep saying it, man. The poise, the playmaking, the shot creation, he just looks good as a rookie, man. This is the strongest position right now for the New York Knicks, is the point guard position. We have four guards that are more than capable of doing some work. I'm not saying that these guys can replace Brunson, but what I'm saying is that you know that at least you have some stability if one of these guys are out there.
Yeah, no question about it. In terms of Brunson, look, he's arrived. He's here. He's locked in. Glad they gave him the captaincy. Like, this is his year. This is his time, and this is his team. Unequivocally, this is his team. So we go as far as he takes us, and I think it could be pretty far. I mean, bro, you look at last year, man. They showed the stat graphic up on MSG, and I almost forgot. Bro, he averaged in the playoffs last year 32 points per game. 7 dimes in the playoffs last year. Yeah, threes wasn't falling that much in the playoffs, but whatever. He was still killing. He was cooking. 32 in the playoffs.
Monster in the playoffs.
An absolute monster, man. I mean, look at this. The stretch that he had, game 3 at Philly. That was a must win.
Yep.
They lost that game. They did. 33 points and 39 points, 13 dimes. Then 47-10. I was at that game. 40-6.
Oof.
41-12 in the closeout game. Then Indiana, Halliburton have some. 43-6. Went absolutely ballistic.
Lethal.
Went absolutely ballistic, man. So, like we said, the chemistry with him and Cat, that's the thing to see, man. I want to see that dynamic duo, someone he can play off of. And now he's got the big man that can make him better and that he can make better. So their chemistry as the season progresses is going to be one to watch, and one I'm very much looking forward to, because that's new. That's brand new. In Dallas, he was second fiddle to Luka. It wasn't two-man game. It was 2 dynamic guards. He had Julius. They were okay. But now this is the final piece to really, when you talk about building a team of complementary players around your guard, around your engine, this is it. This is Jokic Murray. You know what I'm saying? This is it, man. It's Jokic Murray, man. It's what you need.
Offensively, I mean, it's going to be a potent offense, CP.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Yossi. I mean, look, I think this team is going to shock us and really be up there. What the Pacers did was historic last year. I think the Knicks could get really close to that.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks get really, really, really close to that. I think the only thing holding it back is that, Pacers, I would say that their bench was they were just run and gun happy last year. I don't know if the Knicks bench as of now, though, the way they're currently constructed, could be as similar as run and gun happy, but it could be pretty close, man. Like, we saw what they did in Charlotte, that if you get all those guys on a really good night, I wouldn't be surprised if the team puts up 150 points easy.
Yeah.
Just because if you have Cat just rolling from, like, just knocking down threes, man, and we're talking about like 26, 28 feet out. I mean, he's got a quick shot, knock it down from deep. You can't. How are you going to stop that? You're just going to open up the paint for Brunson then to attack, and then it's just constantly like, as a defense, you're going back and forth trying to stop whoever is on point, and then you're going to have guys like Bridges, Hart, OG just cutting and knocking down shots. It's going to be like a flamethrower the way that this Knicks offense is going to move, man. I'm looking forward to watching that and seeing how teams can just slow them down. I just find it good. I just think it's going to be very difficult with a guy like Brunson, who we're talking about an MVP type caliber candidate. Cat, one of the most efficient and most potent scoring bigs in the NBA. How do you stop a combination like that offensively when you these guys can just score, man? That's all
Yeah.
they know how to do, and they're just so good at it.
Yeah, for sure. And then, with the campaign acquisition, I think everybody is waiting for Kolek to take his spot. I get that, but at the same time, he could do a lot worse when it comes to the backup point spot. Like, you still got a guy, 29 years old, experienced, played in the finals, several years of playoff experience, played for Milwaukee and Philly, Phoenix for several years where he had his breakout. So, look, you could do a lot worse, and we'll see how well he performs, how consistently he'll be able to knock down the three, because that's primary reason you brought him here. But, as you see in these first two preseason games, a guy that can run the point, he can run the position, he gets paint touches for them, and he's a scrapper. Like we all seen, and even Jalen Brunson said it. He was interviewed by Bondi yesterday. He talked about Campaign as being that guy who you don't want to play against, but a guy who you embrace him being on the team. And so that's who Campaign seems to be. I think he'll bring a toughness and an edge to that backup point guard spot. And then a benefit will allow a benefit of having Campaign is that it'll allow Deuce to play in his natural position, which is in that off-ball spot, so he can get in, be that instant offense, lock down defensively, and just be comfortable in his role.
And
So
just think about what yeah, for sure. And then just think about what Campaign does, man. Just getting downhill. Like, that's what Tibbs wants out of all of his guards, is being able to get downhill. That's, as I've already mentioned, that's the hiccup with McBride and why you can't have him run the one. So Cam being able to do that, that's just going to help that bench unit continue to move, right? Because even when it's that entire bench just against Charlotte, it's a whole group that likes to get downhill. They like to make sure the defense collapse, and then they'll swing it around looking for the open three-point shot, and that's how Shamet, McBride, guys like that are able to get activated. So Cam helps for doing that. And then just to even piggyback on what you said for Cam being a guy that's a pest that you don't want to play, think about just watching him on Philly, man. How many shots did he make? You're like, come on, bro. This guy, like, stop. Just stop. I don't need this right now. Just let the Sixers go. Just let the Sixers lose, man. I don't need to see this. We need guys to stay healthy. We got to just take down the Pacers. That's how I was thinking watching him just make big threes against the Knicks. It's annoying to watch him do it to your team, but having him, as you said, on our team, it will be great. Imagine he is playing in the postseason, right? Let's say Cole doesn't get that spot, and you just watch him. You're going against Philly again, and now he's giving the same pain, pun intended, to Philadelphia.
There you go, man. And then you got the creator. The creator is making noise, man. Tyler, the creator, is making noise. Every single piece of content we put out there, I mean, people are just devouring it. They can't get enough.
How can
Tyler,
you not, man?
Creator, man.
Think about Summer League, dude. Just think about Summer League. It was like you just watch him dishing and just dishing to everybody around the court. You're like, oh, this is different.
They can't get enough of the creator, man. He is making noise all over the place. And, fans just can't wait for his arrival. First two preseason games, 26 points, 6 dimes to 1 turnover, 4 steals, 4 3-pointers, 60% from the floor, 45 from downtown, and 100 from the stripe. He he'll get his time. That, I think fans will get impatient on Payne's bad nights. They'll be looking for him, but Cole, he'll get his time this year. Just a matter of time.
And the thing is, like, even if he doesn't take the job outright from Payne, from whether it's the start of the season or even like a month or two in, I feel pretty confident that Tibbs is going to give him certain nights to go get his, whether it be a night against the Hornets, the Wizards, the Nets. Like, you don't need to just, like, with the way that this team is constructed right now, the Knicks should just be able to bulldoze lesser teams like that. And you should see guys like Payne, Kolek, Deuce just get more extended run to alleviate all those guys in the starting five, so that way they can get the rest needed. So that way we can have them ready for the postseason. So I would expect Kolek to get some shine early in the regular season if we're playing teams like that. So I'm not too worried, man. And well, it's weird not to be worried about this point guard rotation, man. I'm telling you that right now,
man. I mean, we're coming from the days when we talking about Kadeem Allen. Does he have some potential? Does Jared Harper? Why is Jared Harper not playing in tonight's game on a two-way
Ramon
contract?
Sessions.
Ramon, oh my God, that one year when it was, they had just drafted Frank, but they were like, oh, we signed Jared Jack. Oh, we signed Ramon Sessions. Oh, Emmanuel Moody. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys drafted the French Prince. What?
Yeah, but you know what happened? They saw him practice and they saw that jump shot and how long it took for that release.
We need a point guard.
Absolutely not.
We need a point guard. What was Phil thinking? We need a point guard in here. So yeah, that was that. That was
Beno
that.
Udrih.
Yes, Beno, man. Shout out to Beno Hive. So yeah,
between him and Calderon, man.
Yeah, Oof. Yeah, absolutely, man. Speaking of Tyler Kolek, man, tomorrow on the afternoon show, we have his trainer and coach, man. Coach Nick Correa is going to be joining the show, man. He's going to give you some intel on Tyler Kolek's off-season regimen. He's known Kolek for a long time, so we'll get some stories on Tyler Kolek tomorrow on the lunchtime edition of the show. Coach Nick Correa is going to be joining the show, man. Also battled some addiction. So he's got a story himself. Yeah, battled addiction. Wow. And kind of found his rebound in training athletes and things of that nature. So we're going to hear from him, man, get his story and talk Tyler, the Creator, man, the fan sensation. Because the fans just can't get enough of Tyler, the Creator, man. Absolutely.
I like that nickname, man. Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah.
It's, you know what's going to be crazy is that nickname is going to be popping once he makes that one dime. It's going to be that one dime.
Yeah.
Or if he has a game, man, just imagine if he get whatever game and he just goes out there and gets like 6-7 dimes and you're like, oh, okay, that's it. That's it right there.
For sure. And, in your typical Nick fashion, which you come to expect when they're drafting some of these guys, is just some of the more experienced guys like Kolek, 4 years of school. So you already know, like, he's coming in with a certain floor, a pedigree, experience. Biggie's Player of the Year, all of that good stuff. Like, he's polished, man, and you could see it. You could see it. So, 23 years old, coming into it, he's gonna carve out a nice role, man. Kolek is the real deal.
I wonder if he has like a lot of success in the league, if he changes the outlook on how you draft point guards moving forward, because a lot of people, like you just think about, obviously Ja is in a whole different category, like 1 year at Murray and then you go into the NBA and, that's the dream for a lot of these young guys. But from a franchise perspective, when you're looking at that type of position, if you're not getting a guy like Ja, who's just like an otherworldly talent, are you going to start going for guys with 3-4 years because they're more ready, they're more battle tested? Like, I wonder if, like, that's the one thing I wonder moving forward. And I really hope Kolek, proves that, because I feel like there's just too much. It isn't age discrimination, man, when it comes to the draft. It's like, hey, hold on, 22, 23, 3-4 years of college, absolutely not.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I hope that changes moving forward, because you look at Kolek and look, I get that he's not a superstar or anything of that nature, but just the level of poise, that's what you want to see, man. It's someone who takes the game seriously and is ready to go.
True indeed. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your boys, CP and Alex, on the ones and twos. If you want to call us up, man. 657-383-1509 is the number to call. Once I set the phones up. Or you can hit me up on the KFTV Discord. Completely forgot to.
Or you can call CP's direct line, which is...
Yeah, exactly. Forgot to set the phones up. But in the meantime, the Discord is open, so we'll get to it. Dan from New Jersey. Dan, how you feeling, man? Dan, going once? Oh, Dan might have been sleeping on the line from last night's show.
Oh, wow.
Dan, are you with us? All right, we'll wait for Dan to get it popping. Maybe he's watching the Yankee game out. Maybe he's watching the Yankee.
I mean, that's the right thing to do, man.
That
Be
is.
watching that Yankee game.
That is the right thing to do. Let me get the phones up and running.
Welcome to Blog.
Talento, I see you in the chat. Salute to Talento in the chat. TM, what's good? Let's get the phones up so the people can call in.
To start your show now.
All right, we should be ready to roll. Okay. All right. We can get to worst take in just a second while we wait for the calls to load up. Aaron Judge up at the plate. What's he gonna do, man? We need a Bronx bomb. Top of the 8th. Ooh, outside.
Oof.
One
CP,
thing. Yeah.
I'm looking at the WNBA Finals right now. We got the
What's going on
against the Minnesota Lynx. It is tied 84-84.
Wow.
Your show will
End of
go
the
live
fourth.
in 5.
In the 4th, how much time left?
End of the fourth, I said, man. We're going
To overtime. Overtime. NBA Jam voice. Liberty got into a little static. They were up by a lot in the first half.
84-84, my man.
They were up by a lot, man. Salute to the Rhyme Animal, Chuck D out. Chuck D out. $5 Super Chats as Cola keeps his head up with a third eye on the game. Vision indeed. Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to Tyler, the creator. All right, let's pull up first take. These are some ones that we needed to catch up on. And the first one, Al, belongs to our guy Bobby Marks. Friend of the program, man. This was Bobby Marks on NBA Today, just about a week and a half ago, on the potential of this Knicks starting 5, man. So let's play the Bobby Marks soundbite right here on Worst Take, and let's get your reaction to it, Al. Here we go. Here's Bobby Marks.
Well, I would even go on record right now and saying that this New York team, their starting 5, is the best starting 5 in the NBA on paper. Now, they certainly have to go out and they have to go out and play, right? We start training camp right now, and when you look at certainly Carl at the 5 and then OG at the 4, and Anunoby, health is going to play a big role. My only concern, Perk, is their depth. And I know losing Dante DiVincenzo hurts as far as who comes off the bench for this New York team, but that starting 5, including the Boston Celtics, is as good as any starting 5 in the NBA right now.
All right, man. Bobby Marks' starting 5 is the best on paper, Al. To that, you say what?
I agree with that.
Okay. Good take.
I agree.
Okay.
And the caveat is on paper.
Okay.
But I do agree with that. I think what we're about to watch this season, I mean, I'll give the respect to the reigning champs because they had an elite starting 5 last year that just broke metrics, all advanced stats and so forth, analytics. So you got to give them respect. So we got to go watch this new starting 5 for the New York Knicks play. But I think they're going to be up there, man. I think you're going to watch this starting 5, and offensively, it's what's going to carry this team. Defensively, it all comes down to what Brunson and Cat can do and how they can contribute, because you already know the perimeter defense from Hart, OG, and Bridges is going to be there. It's just the rest of the team to just really knock it out of the park. And if that defense is to hold up, there's no question that this team shouldn't have one of the best starting 5s in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree. And TM says he did kind of let off the gas at the end. He did. he didn't go full first take on it. You know what I mean? He
no,
went.
I told you, man. He gave you the caveat. He said on paper.
He went, and then he slowed down a little bit when he thought
You know why he did that, CP? He's probably a Jets fan at heart. And I remember the year where they got Derek Mason, Plaxico Burress, and on paper, this team should make it to the Super Bowl. And the next thing you know, that team goes 8-8.
Yeah.
And they could have made the playoffs by beating the Miami Dolphins. But no, we benched San Antonio Holmes because he couldn't, get his act together.
No one thought that but you, man.
How dare you? How dare you?
And back-to-back
AFC championships.
I was hating heavy when Plaxico got out the Bing and went to the Jets. I was like, whoa. What happened to the loyalty, man?
Flash, I hope you're hearing this, Flash.
The Jets Super Bowl with Plaxico. Oh, no. No one was thinking that. But anyway. I think on paper, it could be. You could see some really prolific offense out of this team on given nights. Defensively, I think they can really get after it. But there's a lot that has to come together. Chemistry, for one, health, like Bobby Marks said, and we got to see where the bench goes. We talked about Campaign and Deuce. Shamit, we didn't really get to Shamit on our point guard. Not really guard, but just the guard rotation. Talking about Shamit, he's going to fill an important role off of this bench. He's going to make the team.
For sure.
And he's going to be very important, man. They're going to need his shooting, his three-point shooting, to replace DiVincenzo's production. Between Payne and Deuce and Shamit, they're going to need to produce, man. They're going to need to produce some big offense, because that's it right there off the bench. So, how the bench comes together, it will be vital. But obviously, I got to go with the champs. Got to respect the champs. I mean, at an 11.4 net rating, they had the third best net rating all time in the NBA. Out of NBA champions.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's a high bar.
It's a high bar.
It's a high bar. And I mean, if you're comparing it, right, like just 1 through 4, I mean, on that team, like all of them can play defense, score, and facilitate. I mean, not saying that everybody can't do this, but I think it's just another, like watching them last season, it was truly another level. Like, yeah, it really is. I don't think the Knicks are that far away with this starting five. I truly don't think they're that far away.
11.4 net rating, so I can't put them at the top. You still got to respect Boston for what they did last year, because they did it in the regular season, they did it in the postseason, and they dominated. So I'm going to put Boston number 1. I'll put us at 2 in terms of starting fives. I'll put OKC 3. Put OKC 3. I'll put Philly at 4.
Philly at 4.
Over Minnesota. I'm putting you got an MVP caliber player. Maxi's
over the Bucks.
Bucks 5. They're getting older, man. Brooklyn, Middleton. I don't know. Over Embiid, Maxey, George.
I mean, you're asking Paul George and Embiid to be healthy.
I know. That is true, but he asking the Knicks to be healthy too, right? He asking Cat and OG to be healthy too.
I think I'd still lead more toward. The only one that really is like OG. I mean, I get it. I know people were at me like, Alex, how can you say Cat is like durable? I know he played 29 games 2 seasons ago. You look at that 50. Don't forget that 50 was during the COVID year. So 50 out of 72 games. That's like 60 out of 82.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of games to be playing.
Yeah.
I think Cat. I don't know. I'd lean more towards Cat being healthy than actually injured. So if he misses time here and there, that's one thing. I don't see it being. OG is the one that really scares me. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Because he could just have, as we saw, the elbow injury, and you're like, whoa, elbow. Like, it's all these obscure injuries, man, that just have him sidelined for a time. Man, he's the one that if he's out, man, he's your best isolation defender just because of his build, right? He has the wingspan, he has the physical tools to be that type of guy guarding 1 through 4. I mean, he's the only guy that can really get up to guarding centers just because of his frame. Yeah. So if he goes down, that's tough. But fine. You want to put Philly up there, man? Fine. I get what you're saying.
I'll put him up there. I mean, where you putting? You putting Soda ahead of them? Where's your 5? Give me your 5.
Okay, so I'm gonna have Celtics, Knicks. All
okay,
right, that's all right. Who'd you say was 3? You said Philly was 3. OKC. Okay,
the West,
like
best
that.
of the West, best of the West.
Okay.
They just got Hartenstein. They just got Caruso.
Okay. I'm gonna go Dallas, man.
Wow.
Can't sleep on Dallas.
Where are you putting them?
4.
You putting Dallas is starting 5. So who's their starting 5 right now? Kyrie, Luka.
Pull it up right now. Luka.
Is my guy Quentin Grimes starting? Is Q Dot starting? No, I'm just playing. Shout out to Quentin Grimes. So that's my guy.
Grimes Hive still alive somewhere.
Yes.
I'm pulling up the depth charts right now. Just
Clay?
You got Clay, PJ, Gafford.
You putting that over Philly 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I like Maxey. I would probably go with this over Philly. I mean, this team made it to the finals, even though they had a poor outing in the finals. You know, this is the same team that got past. I know it's a different Thunder team, but they got past through the Thunder. They got past through the Timberwolves. I think you got to give this team some respect, too.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's a little bit different of a team. A little different.
It's a little different.
A little different.
It's not too much different. I mean,
okay.
It's only Clay in the starting rotation that, you know, we're just swapping out here.
Somebody said Denver. Well, Jamal Murray don't get right. They're not there. No Bruce, no KCP. It's a little different of a team.
I think that's tough, man. I think without KCP, that's tough. Even without Bruce Brown last year, they were different. I'm just trying to figure out where I put Milwaukee in this whole thing, man.
Yeah, where do you put them? You got to respect them.
Because I feel like,
Gotta respect them.
I guess Philly will go 5. Milwaukee probably Milwaukee goes 6.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough, man. What do you guys think in the chat? Bobby Marks says the Knicks starting 5 can be the best in the league. What do you guys think? What are your top 5 starting 5s in the league? What do you guys think?
Somewhere Lakers Nation is coming after us saying,
yes. Yes. 702. Let's go to 702. Is that Pistol Pete? Is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Let's go. What do you think, man?
Man, well, since the name of the show is the point guard rotation, I put down in the chat. I like to see Kohler get some. I know he's a rookie and Tibbs don't like to play his rookies, but man looks NBA ready.
Yeah.
I think he should come off the bench and get some minutes. Like a little 3-guard line up there with Payne, Polick, and McBride.
Okay.
Like that would be pretty dynamic. I like Huck Porty. I said I like what he did in his last game. I like to see more of that hustle and grind that he has. Sims is looking. I back him up. I like Sims a lot.
Okay.
But he's still looking lost sometimes. You know.
All right.
And if he continues to look that way, he might have to go down in the depth chart.
All right, appreciate the call, man. I had to drop you off, Pistol Pete, because you were a little muffled. You're a little muffled. And ladies and gentlemen, join the Discord. Join the Discord, please. We need your audio from the Discord. The phones are just a little too low. Pistol Pete, you're a little muffled. But he said he wants to see Kolek get some burn. And I think he will. You know. Shout out to Pistol Pete, man. You guys just got to check your audio when you call in. What's good?
33 seconds left in this Lynx Liberty game. Oh, are we going to tie it up right here? Oh, tied up 93-93 with 28 seconds to go in overtime.
I'm watching the Yankee game too. All right, hold on. What's going on here? Let me get to my Spectrum joint.
Oh, no way. Oh,
block
shot.
What's going on here? Whoa, block
Brianna
shot.
Stewart.
20 seconds left. 93-93. Let me turn the volume down before I get a copy right here. Don't want to do that on the Liberty game. That would be something. Okay. 20 seconds left in overtime. Here it is. Liberty gets it to that player on the Lynx. Here we go. Dumps it down.
Wow.
In the paint.
Holy cow.
Turnaround jumper. It's good.
Timeout,
Liberty.
8.4 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Lynx up by 2 in OT.
Shout out to Stop the Panic. $2 super chat. Franchise channel members to say goodbye to Bambi on Ice Sims and welcome Huck Porty.
Wow.
Tibbs was very complimentary of Huck Porty, man, yesterday, man. Very complimentary. And as you guys heard, Yossi Gozlan said that, you know, for the Knicks to get the extra roster spot, that one of the two ways will be converted. Well, it's not going to be Kevin McCullers. It's going to be Huck Porty, man. Huck Porty's going to be on the main roster. He's here to stay. Jericho's on notice, man.
This is the year for Jericho, man.
Yeah.
As I said, offseason. Look, Mitch is out. You got to be able to step up. Look, Porty's going to take advantage of every opportunity he gets, man. So he's hungry. You see it, man. You just see the way that he's playing, how he approaches the game. He's hungry.
All right, where did the Liberty go from here, man? Is Ionescu gonna like shoot a 3 here?
Or do you take it into double OT?
Or do we go into double OT?
What are you drawing up, CP?
I'm drawing up a play for Sabrina, man. End it.
Oh, you're saying you end it.
Yeah.
Game 1, you want to end it.
Nah, I think Stewart ends it. I think a little mid-range bucket by Stewart. That's where I think they're going. See, Stewart's inbounding. She's going to get it back. Stewart inbound. To Ionescu. Here we go. Top of the key. I told you Stewart's getting it back. I told you, Al, she's getting it back to make the move. And she got fouled. She got fouled. Yeah, I told you, bro. It's going to Stewart, man. Oh, wow. They had a foul to give? That's not a shooting foul?
That's crazy.
That right there is not a shooting foul?
Nah. Grab it. That's crazy.
Wow. That's crazy.
With 2.6 seconds left.
That's crazy. All right, now we got Ionescu. Here we go. Oh, no. She's inbounding.
Yep.
All right, here we go. 13's taking a shot. Or maybe not. Stewart again. Here we go. Pull up. Stewart. Got. Oh, wow.
Damn, man.
Wow. And the Liberty gets stunned. How is that not a shooting foul?
That is crazy. I don't know how that's not a shooting foul, man.
Yeah, they were down by 18 points. Wow. Okay. And it's only a best of 5, so it's tough, man. Damn.
You got to take advantage of home court, though.
But
they got it, man. They got another shot.
Got to take advantage. Okay, let's get to the second part of Worst Take here, Al. Let's get to it. And this is from our guy, Iman Shumpert.
Oh, boy.
Who, you know, I don't know if this was a first take audition, a worst take audition, but here was Shump in all of his glory. Let's hear this. Let's hear this by Shump. And it was in regards to the Knicks, man. Let's hear Shump on first take, last week. Here we go.
I love them on paper. Like, I love the Cat Brunson. I love that on paper. Like, that's awesome. I don't love that at the end of the game in the playoffs. Like, it's not scary enough. There's got to be some player that can go off by himself in the playoffs. Me being a part of the playoffs for years, I just know a pick and roll calls for adjustments, tags, rotations. The hardest thing to beat is knowing exactly what's coming, and it's an ISO, and there's nothing you can do but watch. We all have to sit here and watch and hope he misses that ISO. And I'm not against Cat or Brunson. I like both of them as players. I don't think that at the end of a game they could go back and forth like that. And if they are able to do that, I'm going to be excited to watch it. I like them on paper. At the end of a game, I would take my chances saying, yes, I will guard Brunson and we will rotate on Cat.
And Brunson would cook Shumpert, bro, in isolation. But
it just sounds... No, go ahead.
Well, look, I would say this. He's coming from he's got a championship ring. He's coming from a perspective where he played with some of the greatest isolation players to ever play. Whether that's Melo, you want to go Bron, Kyrie Irving. He's got a ring. He's coming from experience. He's seen Steph break their hearts several times. So he has perspective that we have to respect. However, when he loops in Brunson in that, well, they just don't have a guy that can go get it, and, you know, a guy who, you know, it's coming and you still can't beat it. He's describing Jalen Brunson. And so that shows me that he clearly either didn't watch or hasn't been watching in the playoffs, or he just doesn't know what he's talking about. Because that player is Captain Clutch. That's why we call him Captain Clutch here, Iman Shumpert.
Well, you know, CP, I don't think it's either or. I think it's both. I think he has never watched Jalen Brunson in the playoffs, and he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. Because the past 2 seasons, we've watched Jalen Brunson. You can even say 3 seasons, man, even when he was down in Dallas. This man put up 40-point performances against the Utah Jazz when they had Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. He did it against the Cleveland Cavaliers where they had Jarrett. They had the best 4 that was claimed, right? It was like, oh, Knicks lost out on Donovan Mitchell. They got, Garland, Mitchell. They got Jarrett Allen, Mobley. But yet this guy goes out there and demolishes them. Then you talk about going against the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, and all that crew. And yet game, 6? Man drops 40 points to keep the Knicks in it. And you could even argue that if he didn't sit for like 2, 3, maybe even 5 minutes, Knicks could have potentially won that game, gone to a game 7. And then you look what he did against Philly, all right? No Julius Randle, all right? Your second best scorer was Dante DiVincenzo, a role player. And yet you just went through the numbers that he put up, CP. 40-point performances, 3-4 games in a row between Philly and then starting against the Pacers. What are we talking about, man?
Yeah.
Like, what are we? This is a guy who's we're talking about MVP consideration. How do you think he gets up there?
Right. How do you think he get up there?
How do you get up there? You think it's just a walk in the park for this guy? No, he can score at will. So clearly, it's one of the worst takes possible. On like that, I don't even know if it's an addition. I don't know what it. That is just a terrible take. Terrible take by Shump. Come on, man. You're a former Knick. How are you not watching games? I don't know. For that take, CP, he can't be in the Legends Lounge. I can tell you that right now.
Are you rescinding his Legends Lounge pass?
Yeah, man. Not for that. For that take, that's terrible.
Wow.
That means you haven't watched.
Yeah.
This is the team that drafted you from Georgia Tech, by the way.
That is true.
This is the team that Mike D'Antoni said, hey, we need a point guard. Why don't you go out there? This is the same team that was like, yo, defense, we wanted you. Mike Woodson, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, yeah. Come on, Shump, man. Come on, Shump. You know.
You're allowing him to get into the Legends Lounge, man. That'd be crazy.
I don't know if I can get him in there, man.
That's crazy.
It's iffy. Ask me tomorrow.
Ask you tomorrow, he says.
Total points in the clutch. Total points in the clutch last season. Brunson was top 9. Total points in the clutch in the regular season. The year before that, he was right there, definitely. Clutch points at 4. He was 4th in clutch points the season before that, 22, when he first got here. Playoffs, he was, I'll tell you right now. Playoffs 2 years ago, he was 8th in total clutch points. And last year, he was 1st in clutch points with 49. Wow. He was 1st in clutch points with 49 in the playoffs, last playoffs. And in terms of where's points per game at? Where's points per game at? I don't know what. Oh, I had total. I have it on totals on NBA.com. So if you go points per game, 4th.
Wow.
In the clutch last year, points per game. That's 6.1.
Sounds like a guy that, can score at will. That you can just get the ball to and just say, hey, you can't stop this.
Yeah. I mean, the Towns question is warranted. That I have my own question about that in the clutch. But,
I'm
Brunson,
right there as well, man.
Yeah, but Brunson, nah.
Yeah, that's what it's not. it'd be one thing if he's like, look, watching Cat's Follies that you watch in the postseason, previous seasons and whatnot, and like the decision making, like fouling, the positioning yourselves, like trying to back down and do stuff that we saw Randall would do, right? Try to back down somebody from the 3-point line and with your back to the basket, or it's just like there's times where he gets like he could do a great job working the post, but then there are times where if you feed it too much to him, he gets tunnel vision and then he just starts chucking, and it's like it just starts to take away from the team. So it's like his decision making needs to be better. So I can understand the Cat question.
Yeah.
But we've literally, there's like, what is it? The one error we talk about from the last 2 seasons, CP, is against the Miami Heat, the one pass, right? One pass in Game 6. That's the only thing we can really harp on, is like the only decision that he made that was so wrong. But other than that, 99.9% of the time, you give it to Brunson, he's going to score, make the right play.
Yeah. The reaction on that turnover, I'll never forget, because we was at 40-40 watching it. The reaction was like, it was a loud sigh. Yes, because it was untimely, but also because like you weren't used to that. You know what I'm saying? You hadn't seen Brunson make a mistake like the entire playoffs, the entire year, a critical mistake. So when you saw it, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That's how steady he's been in the clutch, man. So, Shump, that was a worse take, my guy. That was a worse take, man. So I think his invite to the lounge is pending. But it happens, man. Gets the best.
I know it can make it right, though. I know what he could do to make it right.
Yeah.
What Shump needs to do is come on KFTV.
He's got to come through. He's got to come
and
through.
And repent his sins.
Yeah. He's got to come through. The number one show for the fans, by the fans, man. So we will leave the invite out there. We'll leave the light on for him. And that's just how it's going to be, man. But great show. Great show, Al. Great show, all the mods. Great show, TM, Chuck D, Rhyme Animal, Chuck D. Oh, look at this, man. We got a super chat from JD Sports Talk.
Oh, boy.
Y'all not ready. CP, you scared. Alex Cat. I don't. You do the translation there. Now, I did speak to him earlier today at happy hour time. That was at 5 o'clock. And if you look on his IG story,
I was about to say, I saw.
You could see what he was getting into. Yeah,
I can't say the brand of the tequila that he was partaking in, but hey, I was a little jealous.
Yeah. So the Nightcrawler's outside. God only knows what he's up to right now. But be safe in those streets, man. Be safe in those streets, bro.
The Nightcrawler at 5 p.m. is outside.
Yeah. Like I said, tomorrow we will have Coach Nick Correa on the show. Tapping in to close out the week, man. Great week for sure. More announcements coming up, man. We're crossing the T's, dotting the I's on these watch parties that we got coming up on the 22nd and the 25th. And hopefully you guys are, at least you guys are in New York, will be able to make it. If you guys are out of town, man, I would highly suggest you guys try to come out there and make it, because we got some big announcements to come in the coming days, man. So we're gonna get to that. I'm about to log off now and get to that work. And let's go, man. Let's get to it. I'm gonna get back to the Yankee game, Al. Great show. Remember that this show is available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it. You can catch us on all podcast platforms, and also support our sponsors, man. SeatGeek. Remember what I told you, man. Home opener for the Knicks game. $275, the cheapest seat in the house. So let us help you out there, man. Go to SeatGeek or use the SeatGeek app. Use our code KFTV10 and get 10% off your tickets. Not just for first-time users, but for all users of SeatGeek. Remember, the green dots are the good deals. The red dots are the bad deals. You want to avoid those. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Al, great show. We out of here, man. Peace.